All West Virginia fans were disappointed in the way the 2022 football season went for the Mountaineers. One of the reasons for that was the number of players West Virginia lost in the transfer portal prior to the season. In this episode of Couz's Corner, we will take a look at where Neal Brown and staff missed when replacing those pieces that were lost in the portal. This is a two-part series, and in part one, we will focus on the offensive side of the ball. So pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and let's dig into the numbers. What is up, college sports fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Couz, and welcome into another edition of Couz's Corner. Pull that chair up. Let me serve you up another shot of top-shelf college football content. In this episode, like I said, we're going to dig into some numbers. We're going to look at what West Virginia lost in the transfer portal prior to 2022 and the players they brought in. We're going to look at some pro football focused grades, some stats, and just see where did they upgrade, where did they downgrade, where did we really not lose or gain anything. I want to give credit for this video to the guys, to Mike Kazaza, Chris Anderson, the guys at earsports.com, the West Virginia affiliate of 24/7 Sports. They wrote a really good piece on this, which I'll link to in the description box. This is where I got most of the information from. So let's dig in. And like I said, this one, we're focusing on the offensive side of the ball. And what I'm going to do is put up for you so you can see this along with me is the pro football focused grades. I put together a spreadsheet. Let's first start out with the quarterback position. We all know that Jarret Doege left West Virginia after the 2021 season, after being the starter for the entirety of the 2021 season. He had a pro football focus grade of 70.2 throughout the year. That was his average throughout the year. Statistically speaking, Doege was 272 for 417 yards, a 65.2% completion percentage, 3,048 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 12 picks. A lot of those picks came at very bad times in very bad places on the field, though, and that's really what drove West Virginia fans nuts. It just seemed like he made bad decisions at the wrong possible time, and he'd done it throughout the entire season. Anyway, he ended up transferring to Western Kentucky, was not able to win the starting job there, so he transfers again to Troy, and once again did not win the starting job, only played in a backup role when the starter was out. Jarret Doege, went to a smaller school and still didn't win the starting job. West Virginia brings in to replace him J.T. Daniels. The fan base was all ecstatic. Here we are bringing in a former five-star recruit who started as a 17-year-old kid at USC and played pretty well to be a 17-year-old kid at USC and was, expected to be a superstar. We thought our offense would improve greatly, and it did improve some. But when you look at the individual numbers here for J.T. Daniels, 200 for 327 passing, which was 61.2% completion percentage, 2,107 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 9 picks. But what may have been most telling about Daniels is the fact he lost the starting job near the end of the season to Garrett Green. Garrett Green came in for JT during the Oklahoma game, led West Virginia to victory. He then started the Kansas State game, did not win the game, but was still the starter, and then started again in the final game of the season against Oklahoma State before he left the game early with an injury, and they brought in Nico Marchiol, who ended up leading West Virginia to victory. But like I said, you look at the numbers, you look at the pro football focus scores, West Virginia did not really upgrade statistically at the quarterback position. They were throwing to a lot of the same receivers and had the same offensive line. And, Jarret Doege did have Letty Brown, but hey, Daniels had C.J. Donaldson, Tony Mathis, Justin Johnson. Those guys performed pretty well this year, so I don't think they really lost anything at the running back spot. I agree with the 24/7 guys here. I think this was a pretty even swap when you look at it statistically, and I don't think that an even swap was not enough to get it done, in my opinion. They needed a major upgrade at that position from 2021. Next position, the wide receiver position. They lost Winston Wright, Isaiah Esdale, and Sean Ryan. Now, Winston Wright ended up getting into a car accident before he played a game for Florida State, which is where he transferred to. So he's not included in this exercise, but we all know Winston Wright was a big loss for the Mountaineers. But when you look statistically at Isaiah Esdale and Sean Ryan and the years they put up for West Virginia, in 2021, they combined for 54 catches, 761 yards, and 4 touchdowns. In the 22 season, Esdale played at Rice, caught 39 passes for 461 yards. Sean Ryan played at Rutgers, recorded 26 catches for 440 yards, and that was against Big Ten competition. So Sean Ryan played a pretty tough schedule at Rutgers and still put up decent numbers. The two guys who replaced Estelle and Ryan, Cortez Braham and Jeremiah Aaron. Now, in their defense, they did not get a whole lot of snaps. So their PFF numbers and their stats would be impacted by that. But the two of those gentlemen combined for 26 catches, 271 yards, and 1 touchdown. And it's not really an apples-to-apples comparison, like I said, because of the snaps. But what happened for West Virginia 22? Caden Prather got a lot more snaps. Caden Prather ended up being the second outside receiver on the other side of Bryce Ford Wheaton and got a lot of snaps, played dang near every snap of the season along with BFW. Sam James also contributed a lot. And then Reese Smith played more snaps than he played in 2021. But you take Bryce Ford Wheaton had a very productive year. Sam James, pretty productive year. And Caden Prather was having a productive year until about the middle point of the season when he fell off. Last 6 games of the year, Caden Prather only had 16 catches for 132 yards in 6 games, folks. His overall PFF grade, 64.4. So, when you look at Braham and Aaron's grade, 63.5 and 66.7 respectively. Compare that to what Estelle and Ryan had in 21. You had 72.3 for Estelle and 68.2 for Ryan. So Estelle and Ryan had better PFF grades, not only than Braham and Aaron, but also better grades than Caden Prather, Reese Smith, who was at 59.7, and even Sam James, who was 64.4. And we lost 2 deep threats. Sean Ryan and Isaiah Estelle were both deep threats that allowed you to take the top off the defense. And I really think that was something West Virginia needed more of in 22, because when they double covered Bryce Ford Wheaton, we really didn't have anybody else that was able to take that top off the defense like he was. And we were limited in the passing game. That's why, Graham Harrell and Coach Brown were forced to call a lot more screen passes and things like that, which just did not pan out well at the end of the day. So, a slight setback here, a slight downgrade in my opinion, going from Estelle and Ryan. Well, I say slight. The guys at 24/7 Sports said it was slight. I think it was a major drop. I think it was a major loss. I think Isaiah Estelle and Sean Ryan were both really good wide receivers. Both of them had good hands. We lost arguably our 2 most sure-handed receivers. Now, Braham and Aaron didn't, they had a few drops too, but they're again, those 2 guys really didn't get a whole lot of chances and a whole lot of snaps to prove themselves. Now, both of these guys will be coming back for 23. They will have a chance to prove what they can do in the upcoming season. Next position, tight end. Now, this one right here is one I don't think gets talked about enough. Yes, Michael Laughlin had a season-ending injury this year. Also had that season-ending injury in 21. When Laughlin went down in 21, he was replaced by T.J. Banks, who in 2021 for West Virginia had a PFF score of 66.6. Now, Banks only caught 6 passes for 51 yards in 2021, but he was really good in the run game, and his run blocking score was 77.9. So, to replace Banks, who left for Akron, they brought in Brian Polende, who was a run blocking specialist. They brought him in to run block. That was one area they felt like they needed to improve on, so they bring in a guy who's known to be a good run blocker. So, what did he do? He put up a PFF grade of 34.6. That's right, 34.6. By far the lowest PFF grade on the entire West Virginia football team. Lowest grade on the team. Both his run blocking and pass blocking grades were both in the mid-40s. They lose Banks, who had 77.6 run blocking grade. They thought they needed to improve. They bring in Polini, who had blocking grades in the 40s. So definitely not an upgrade at that position. If you remember, T.J. Banks really came on pretty well at the end of the 21 season. He was catching a lot of balls. So I think he might have not only been a better blocker than Polende, but I think he would have been better in the pass game as well and gave us an extra weapon. Now, like I said, he transferred to Akron in 2022. Now, his PFF grade dropped all the way down to a 49.1, but heck, that was still better than what Polende had. But he did catch 21 passes for 175 yards for Akron, and he played 516 snaps. So I do think West Virginia took a little bit of a hit, or a pretty major hit, I should say, at the tight end position. There you have it, folks. I feel like we were even at the quarterback spot, took a major hit at the wide receiver spot, and a major hit at the tight end spot offensively for the West Virginia in 2022. I want to hear what you think. Do you also think these spots were all downgrades? Do you think I got it wrong here? And by the way, my thoughts pretty much align with what the guys at 24/7 Sports thought too, except I thought the wide receiver loss was a bit more major than what they did. They thought it was only a slight loss. I thought it was a pretty big loss, losing Estelle and Ryan. So let me know your thoughts. Also, if you want to support my channel financially, you can do so. You can check out my merch store. There's a link in the description box, or you can go down below the comment box of this video, and there's pictures of my merch there. Click on one of the photos. It'll take you right to my merch store, quick and easy. I've got hoodies that'll keep you warm in this cold weather. Right now, it's single digits here in West Virginia with wind chills below 0. Great day for a Couz's Corner hoodie, a Couz's Corner beanie to cover up your head, keep you warm if you have to go outside. There's ball caps, T-shirts, tank tops, all kinds of different products to choose from. Go check it out. You can join my channel by hitting the join button right below, become a channel member, take advantage of the perks I have to offer, which include contests. Right now, I'm doing a Capital One Bowl Mania contest. The winner of that gets a $25 gift card, but you have to be a channel member to participate. And by the way, that has already started, so it's probably a little late to take part in that. But there are other perks as well. I'm just giving you an example of some things I do from time to time for my channel members. And then last but not least, you can hit the heart thanks option right below, make a one-time donation to my channel, no matter how big, how small, and make a comment to go along with that donation. If you want to support me free, you can't do it financially, that's okay too. And it's very quick and easy to do. All you have to do is like the video by hitting the thumbs up button below, share it out with your friends, drop that comment below like I mentioned, and last but not least, press that subscribe button. And don't forget the notification bell to go along with it so you'll be notified of future videos and future live streams I may do going forward. With that being said, I really appreciate you tuning in to part 1 of this series. And until the next one, Q Country Roads.
West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road.